can't because it's funny how we just come up and we got to try to get photo ready and ready. It's serious and have these looks and stuff.
You know what?
What?
Do you know what today is?
It's our anniversary.
You're so right.
That's right.
You're so right.
Happy anniversary, honey.
Happy anniversary, baby.
Yeah.
Husband.
Why don't I have something like that for
Wife
you?
Bay just
it's wife
doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Wifey works, but Wife Bay doesn't work.
Wife Bay does not work.
No.
I don't even like Wife Bay.
No, it reminds me of Baywatch backwards or something.
What?
I don't know.
Yeah, a backwards Baywatch.
A backwards Baywatch. So, welcome to Conversating, Conversing and Relating. I'm April Autumn.
I'm Coach Hughes, and this is a special edition because today is our actual anniversary. So we're going to be in the hot seat for you guys. We're going to have some conversation, and we're going to talk about some things and go over the year that we have been married. A lot of us think we've been married more than a year. Yeah.
Whenever we have new consultations or whatever, we'll ask people like, how long do you think we've been married? And people are like, 10, 12, 15. And we're like, about to be a year.
Yeah.
And we made it to a year.
Yeah.
Haven't.
Easy made it to a year.
We did easily make it to a year.
Easy made it to a year.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm thankful for that.
I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely thankful for that, considering the current trend of dating right now and marriage and how things are going. I mean, we see it every day because we have clients. And so when we take on our clients, we see it every day. And so it's one of those things where you just like, thank God that ain't me.
Right.
Or you say, you know what? I need to learn from this and nip this in the bud just in case.
Because it could have been me.
It could have been me.
Right.
It could have been.
It could have been very well.
Been me. Easily could have been. Well, it could have been us.
It could have been us.
Yeah. Easily could have been
individually and collectively.
Right. Yeah. 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 And that's no shade to our clients.
At all. Because again, I think one of the things that we talk a lot about is being human. Yeah. And humans make error. We make mistakes. But from those mistakes, we can grow and stretch and become and do something different. So I think that's why the folks that come to us, they're ready to make those changes. And so I'm very fortunate to have such great people come to us and are willing to do that hard work. Right.
Definitely. Because it takes hard work to get it done. Marriage is a full-time job.
It is. Hi, Ray. So Ray was in the Special Olympics yesterday.
Yes.
And he did an amazing job. Congratulations. And, I'm so proud of you. You're doing some amazing things. So, good job.
Yeah.
Good job. Love you.
Ray is doing a good job. Ray is going good and being well adapted to keep winning them gold medals.
Yep.
That boy is bad on the court.
He is.
I'm still going to dunk on him, though.
Oh.
I'm still going to dunk on him.
Like Grace would say, okay.
Yeah, I'm still going to dunk on him. I'm still going to dunk on you, Ray. I'm going to have to give you the business, sir. But no, it's a full-time job. Being married and a healthy, sustainable marriage is a full-time job. It's not all glitz and glamour and all this other stuff that people make it out to be. It's real work. Like
what is it? Instagram posts.
Right. Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
No, that's one of the reasons why, like, we were working today. Well, first of all, we decided that we were going to take a slow day today. Very slow, because we've been working like.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. New business venture. We definitely been working, but God is good and God has allowed us to work and jump into this new business venture. And definitely wouldn't want to be here without anybody. Wife Bay, did I get it right? Wife Bay, I got it right. So so we've been working.
We've been working hard,
and we've been sleeping or trying to
through the night.
Yeah,
because sometimes tossing and turning. But no,
I ain't sleeping.
Well, I come in and I'm like, babe, I'm going upstairs.
Yeah.
Take a shower,
and I come up there and you just, babe, you okay? Uh-huh. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I am. I'm resting. And then I get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock and have clients at 7.
Yeah. You up before Jesus and the Mexicans.
You know
so
what, sir?
What it is what it is even guys like, you up, April? Just let me finish. The sun ain't even up yet.
It's coming up.
Yeah. I think what we do is we do work hard, but we play equally hard. They see us on when we happen to post.
Right.
Because we're not that out there. Like, we do a lot of stuff and it's like you just have to be there.
Yeah.
Right. If you're fortunate to be there, you're viewing it, you're seeing it in real time. Those who've had chance to like the North Dallas Hughes who have cruised with us.
Yes.
They know what it is.
They know what it is. The Fletchers. Hey, what's up, Fletchers?
They're about to know what it is. The Fudges out in Atlanta.
The Fudges.
They know what it is. And some of our friends.
Shannon and Stephanie, remember from the cruise?
Yeah, Shannon and Stephanie. Yeah. Other people from just who happened to be around us and like your brother found out what it was 2 weeks ago.
Right. He didn't know.
What was the homecoming we went to?
Houston Tillotson. Go Rams.
Yeah.
Go Rams. Yeah. All right. Don't make me break out a chair. Okay.
Not today.
Okay.
Not today.
Ramonica and Damon. They know what it is.
Yeah. Ramonica and Damon.
In the third ward
of Houston know what it is to party and hang out with the Houston Hugheses.
A Jizzle.
Shout out AJ. Just made the police force. Metro PD.
Congrats.
Yeah. Chief Hughes got a new position out there in Dallas, or a neighboring city in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they know what it's like to party with us, but our viewers, we give them us in raw fashion, but we don't give them us as we're in the hot seat. So today we have some questions that we want you guys to ask. If you see the number at the bottom, you can call that number and ask, or you could type it in the chat. We also got some questions that we're going to ask ourselves, and we're going to try to fun the day and see where it goes. All right.
346-800-4639.
You read that hella fast.
I did.
You read
fast. So one of the reasons why, listen, we typically get like glammed up and all cute and stuff for the show today. And today was just really an easy day. Like, we're going to chill. We're going to relax. We went and had breakfast. It was amazing. What was that about?
The coffee was, I think Jesus made it himself.
Yeah. Started with his finger. Yeah. But it was good. Had breakfast, chilled, and we were like, I think we're just going to do a show like this. It'll be good.
Yeah.
You're just going to get us raw and unfiltered today. Which I think that's good. I think that's good. Again, being human. We are human. We are real. We're real people. We make real mistakes.
And we're honest about it.
Yeah.
So this is the avenue we're going to take today, and hopefully our viewers will like that. They'll get up close and personal of not Coach Hughes and therapist April, but just Jamon and April as a married couple, as today again is our anniversary. So again, you see the number on the screen at the bottom of the screen. Definitely call. If not, if you don't feel like being on the thing, then just basically shoot a chat or question in the chat and ask us anything you want to ask us. I'm going to start off with a rant. I know this is not on our list of questions, but do you remember who said I love you first?
You.
I did.
You did.
I said I love you first. Ain't that some shit? I remember that.
Oh, I do.
You do?
I do.
Give us the scene. What happened?
It was actually when... And here we go. Life happens, but I think we still look good. Yeah. So
these are automatic lights, by the way.
So they just go
they'll
off.
come off and go on. But anyway,
it's fine. So it was shortly after we met. And
I said I love you that quick.
you did.
What?
I mean, you have to remember that we had been chatting for a week and a half, 2 weeks before we actually met in person.
I'm sipping. I'm just.
Shut up. Oh my
I
gosh.
said I love you in 2 weeks.
It wasn't 2 weeks.
It's like, hey, my name's April. I love you.
It could have been that fast, though. I mean,
It was not that fast.
it wasn't. Okay, it's bothering me now.
It's about,
But
you know?
it's okay. It wasn't that fast, but it was like we met, and I think the chemistry between the two of us was so real, and and things were very unfiltered, and we kept giving each other the truth and matching energies, and it was positive energy, and so when we met, it was like, okay, I'm going to see if this is for real, because I know what it is on the phone. I know what it is on FaceTime, but what is it like face to face? And then we saw each other. It was like, oh, damn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was. And then we spent the weekend together.
Right.
And it was like, oh, damn. Like, we hung out with my family. Shout out to the Bradshaw family and the Jenkins family. And
down there in Angleton, Texas.
In the country.
On the creek.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was easy.
Yeah.
It was so carefree. And then we hung out with baby girl, and that was amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Elena.
Hey girl, miss you,
Bookie.
love you, Bookie. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was extremely amazing.
Yeah.
And then we just had fun. We had so much fun, and it wasn't all serious, and it wasn't like, okay, what is this? What are we gonna be?
Right.
How are we gonna be? It wasn't that. It was just like, okay, this is cool. This is chill.
Yeah.
And you took me to the airport. We hugged. We kissed. And before I landed, you had sent me a text message like that you wanted to be my man.
I said that?
Listen, don't play with me. I got receipt.
I got
receipts.
I am simping.
Why are you simping? Why would you? So come on.
I can't put up no kind of resistance. It was like you came in for the weekend, like I love you. You don't even know my last name. I love you anyway.
That's not true. Because we've gotten all of that out of the way.
Yeah, we got all that out of the way.
I mean,
it wasn't matter. It was a 2.5 week intense, long meeting of the minds
on the phone. Yeah. 8 hours a doggone day.
Yeah.
7 days a week. It was a job.
Yeah. It was an early job.
It was.
But I mean,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Because I couldn't get enough of the conversation. I couldn't get enough of the intelligence, the vibe. I couldn't get enough of the back and forth we had. You really laughed at my jokes, so it was
no,
like,
for real laugh, like I snorted. Yeah. Like when I for real laugh, I snort.
Yeah.
So that's when you know I'm for real laughing.
That's your thing.
He knew that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that because I wasn't afraid, and I don't think you were either, to be you. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't snort. Oh my God, I can't. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah. It wasn't any of that. It was, this is me. If you don't like me, then okay, well, it's been nice to know you. Yeah. It's been great. It's been a great weekend, but I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
Because, again, we're human.
We had deep conversations as well. Like it wasn't all fun and game conversations. It was some serious, let's get to the meat and bristle of some conversations. And so, yeah.
So one of the things that I had to really figure out if I was cool with you on was that it wasn't really anti, but it was close. Like, you rough on women. I told you that real early. I'm like, you are hard on women. What are you talking about? I'm like, you say some things out of your mouth that you are really hard on women. Help me understand what. And that was always the thing. It wasn't judgment. It was, here's my opinion. Help me understand where you're coming from on that, because I'm just, that's not my experience. So help me understand it.
Right. It was the upfront and raw version I was in. And I wasn't disrespectful. I was like, okay, let's do the accountability. I was good at using some women logic against them and their own reasoning. And so
go ahead and say the word.
What?
Weaponizing.
Oh yeah, I was weaponizing. Yeah, I was weaponizing a lot. But it wasn't, again, it wasn't because I was hiding anything. I always gave the truth. Yeah. And I always said, hey, if, don't ask no question, because I'm going to give it to you, but I'm not going to give it to you as in throw it at you. We're going to have a conversation, but it is going to be the truth. And you're going to know that I'm not running from any conversation or anything like that. So
I don't think it was just like, ask me any question. It was like, let's talk about whatever. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. What do you think about this? It wasn't like you waiting around for me to ask a question. That was never the case.
No. We were some chatterboxes, even during the time you was working and I was working.
We were texting.
Yeah, it was voice text and all kinds of stuff that was going on. So it was a lot that was transpiring in between work hours. And then when we got off work, it was like, okay, I'm free to chat. And we chatted up as long as we did. And so by the time it came around to meet each other, it was just like, this is going to see if this whole vibe that we've been working on for the past 2.5 weeks is real, you know? And so, once we find out it was real, then, I don't remember it that way, but that's how you said it happened.
Okay. So since you don't remember it that way, when do you feel like you actually loved me?
Loved you?
Yeah.
Oh, I felt like I loved you, I think, right before. It's either right before I came the first time or right when I left the first time when we left. I think we were, because I want to say we drove back that first time, right? When I came down? No. We drove back the second time.
Second time.
Yeah. So it was the first time that I came and I was like.
I mean, the first time. Oh, no. The second time your sister came. That was when we drove back? No, because. It might have been the
third time.
Because the second time your sister came, and that was in October. Man, I don't know.
No,
what was the first time you came by yourself? And it was only a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 weeks later.
Maybe
after that came.
Maybe.
And then you was like, "Come see me." I was like, "Okay."
And then you came back again for homecoming.
Yeah, I came back again for homecoming. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was before the Duke trip. By the time
before the Duke trip.
Yeah. It was before the Duke trip and before we drove back from North Carolina to Houston. So yeah, that's when I knew.
So help me understand. Why are you a simp if you loved me before?
No, I'm not saying I'm actually a simp.
Okay.
I don't remember it being that quickly.
Oh, okay.
But I'm cool.
You were fighting yourself.
I was fighting.
You were.
I was
a lot of
fighting temptations.
Yield not to temptation, huh?
I will yield not to April Jenkins.
Hughes.
The Lord is my shepherd.
Shut up.
He know what I want.
Okay, so what's the first question?
Okay, the first question, let's get this going, guys. The first question is, what is the good, the bad, the ugly of this year of marriage? That is a deep question. The good. I guess we'll go individually.
Yeah.
Yeah. The good. It's like a lot to choose from. I don't know. Oh, well, I can say the good for me was when I saw you come down and we were getting married. And you turn that corner, and I was like, somebody got some onions in this motherfucker? Yeah. That's why I had the shades on.
Oh, that's funny.
But you looked so just stunning and breathtaking, and I was just like, I never felt like I made a more right decision at that time. So I was, and that's not the only good part. There's a lot of good parts, but that's the part that sticks out because, you know, I tell you all the time, I never thought I'd be in that position again.
You ain't the only one.
Right. And so, you know, when you came down and, you know, we were able to have our wedding at our house that we had, and we were able to hold like 80 people easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you came downstairs and turned that corner, it was one of those things that was just like, okay, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I'm definitely supposed to be here. If I'm not like I questioned it before, but it's like a confirmation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or you know, reaffirming what I already thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's one of the good times that I remember. There's a lot of good times, like when we when we bought the house was a good time.
Yeah.
You know, that was a good time. You know, times in the high rise, different trips we would take.
We bought the house before we got married, though.
Right. We bought the house before we got married, but I'm saying that is a good time.
Right.
So from the time we were married up until now, oh, there they go. Auto lights.
And then there was lights.
So there was it was just so many, like we were doing, like when I started, you helped me start school again.
Yeah.
You know, that was a really good time. Mm-hmm. Because it was just like, you made it easy for me to transition careers. And so I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. Man, you know, when we were selling the house,
that was also good.
Yeah. Not because we were selling the house, like that was a good time, but just you know, we had the neighborhood sale. Everybody came through. And, you know, we were selling some stuff. And it was just fun to have that with you. And so that was, you know, a good time. Yeah. You know. I guess the bad time for me would be me fighting you on this transition into therapy. I don't want to go to school again. You know. But yeah, I think that was because I was putting up such resistance. And then when you pointed out the school and then I talked to the school, I never felt more like an ass in my life, because it was like, not only were you right, but you were like, right. And so it was just, you know, that was, you know, and then there was some unnecessary arguments that we had that I was just afterwards, I was like, damn, you know, we didn't have to have this argument. We didn't have to have this situation. We didn't have to do this or that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was the unnecessary arguments that were just the bad and the ugly for me, because it put me in a position where I just was like, is this going backwards? Are we moving forward? We just got married, you know, and then through, you know, us praying, being able to talk it out, being able to have a lot of, and that's the one thing I can thank you for. We never stopped having conversation.
No.
Even when we were during the bad and the ugly times, like we never stopped having conversations. Some of those conversations were yelling matches, but they weren't yelling matches that were just, you know, yelling matches where people just say anything. Mm-hmm. There were yelling matches that was like Mr. What's name on Lean on Me. Like we were both
Mr. Carter?
Yeah, we were both yelling, you know, very valid points, but we were yelling. You know what I'm saying? And so it's one of those things where we never stop talking. So yeah, that was the bad and the ugly part for me this year. But there were so many good parts. Man, I guess, rocking and rolling in the business and taking on the things that we took on and going on that cruise, getting able to head down to our favorite spot, little Havana. I mean, a bunch of stuff, Yeah. Set of Porta Poopy.
Yeah. So I'll start with the ugly because
go backwards.
I am
Okay.
because I want to end with the good.
Okay. All right.
So the ugly, and this is when I knew it was real. The argument we got into before we got married.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think a lot of times people don't think that we argue. I mean, I know the Hughes family knows that we argue.
The Hughes family
They know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Renata and Lamont. They know we argue.
Yeah.
And sis Katara knows that we argue.
Right.
But we are two very strong-willed people.
Super strong.
Yes. And so the night before we got married, we argued.
Yeah.
That was ugly.
I think some of that was
it was stress.
Was stress and fear.
It was stress and not fear about getting married for me.
No, not about the marriage.
For me, it was, and this is how I knew it was real, because I wanted it to be such a way.
Yeah.
I wanted it to look a certain way and be a certain way. And I wasn't, you say I was a bridezilla. I don't think I was, but maybe I was. But
you was a bridezilla, but not like on TV. Not like they are on TV. You were like a banana pepper bridezilla. Like you weren't a jalapeno bridezilla. Like a ghost pepper bridezilla, like on TV. They be really on some other stuff. But you were a bridezilla, and But it wasn't about like spending money or anything like that, because we were really like penny pinching and corner cutting, not in a bad way, because our wedding was amazing. It was gorgeous. It was all the things. Yeah.
It was, I wanted it to be an experience for you, but also it was actually, I was excited about the person that I was getting married to. Right. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that this is not my first rodeo. It is not. This is my fifth marriage. I'm not afraid to say it. And that's part of the ugly.
It's my second.
And so I wanted to, I never thought I would be here again. Yeah, I didn't.
Both of us.
I thought I was going to have a puppy or a purse poodle and be traveling the world with the dog and be fine. My kids are grown now and, they're doing their own thing. And so I'd visit my family and travel the world and I would be fine and walk this man. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And actually wanted to be with you. Yeah. I didn't need to be with you. That was the other thing. We didn't need each other, but we wanted to be with each other, which I think is really cool. And so because of trying to control everything, yes, my hand is raised, control. We had an argument and it was not cute at all. No. Like to what we was like, so what we gonna do?
Yeah.
And neither one of us was ready to be like, okay, I'm done. It was just like, what is the problem? And then the day of, I had a mini breakdown because same thing. The weather changed and we were supposed to get married outside. We had to switch to inside. It was stressful. And before, like every time I got married, I probably didn't care. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize, but I didn't. I'm sorry.
Sad.
But I cared this time because I cared about the person that I was marrying. So that was the ugly and the bad. The good has just been like, I say this a lot to you. I love this life with you.
Right. Yeah.
I love this life with you. That. Like almost everything we do is an adventure. It's an adventure.
We have adventures a lot.
And it's just been cool. So people will say, oh, that's just your marriage and that's just how you are. And that's just, I think being in a marriage where I didn't want to be there and, doing things I didn't want to do and being with a person that I actually want to be with and want to work with, and that person wants the same thing.
Yeah.
It tells me that it can work. It can.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I remember that fight vividly.
Mm.
That was a strong fight.
It was.
Yeah. But there's a lot of good points in there.
It was.
Like it normally is. It's not like we're saying some shit that's just like, huh? It's some very valid points. And couples fight, it's not healthy to fight all the time, but it's unhealthy to think that you're never going to have a fight.
Well, let me clarify. We have disagreements. We're not knuckling up and fighting each other. No, not like that. It's a disagreement.
The reason it's not like that because we know we're both mentally strong. And so it's like it's a mental battle back and forth. It's a chess, a cat and mouse thing back and forth. And so that's why it's never it's WWE. It's never that. It's just it's a mental warfare. It's a mental fight. And so, again, that comes from two strong-willed people, but it's always a conversation. It's just at different octaves sometimes.
Yeah. The octaves can go up or down, or the sarcasm can be really dripping or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely own that. But here's the thing. We never not came back to each other as far as, hey, let's sit down and reset and what happened.
I don't think we let the sun go down without us coming together and talking it out. Like that. That's hard. That would be really, really hard.
Yeah.
Because, I don't sleep well. You don't either.
Yeah, I just don't sleep.
Yeah. We'll just be up.
I'll be up. Yeah.
Mean mugging. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What do you mean mug? We just be up.
Not mean mugging, but your face all messed up.
Is,
staring into the blue yawn. There you go.
Yeah. Being very dramatic. Being very dramatic.
Are you watching something on TV?
No. I'm just looking at it. It's definitely like that. All right. So the next question is, where did you grow in your life that you didn't expect to? I went first last time.
Did you? You did.
I did.
I mean, I think every day is an opportunity for me to look at me. I'm going to say some stuff and I know you're going to laugh. I mean, I look at me and I think I'm wrong and I'll say that, but since I've been married to you, I'll be like, yeah, you're wrong. You need to pull it back. You need to chill. Because there's certain things, for example, you're driving. It just gets me. Exactly.
What gets you about my driving?
I love you so much.
What gets you?
I'm just gonna say that. I love you. And you in Houston traffic drive. You drive like a Houstonian sometimes.
I do.
Yes, and then you complain about the Houstonians. Sorry, Houstonians. You are like up on people. You're like right on the edge of people, and I'm like using my invisible brake in the car. I'm like, Lord,
really? Jesus. I didn't think that. Okay.
I love you so much. Okay. And remember that day we were on the toll. Like some days and I'll admit, sometimes it's my control because I was alone for a very long time. Very long time. Right. People didn't drive me anywhere. I drove myself everywhere. Right. And so whenever we get in the car, who drives?
I drive.
You drive. Yeah. It's rare that I drive unless we're like driving like to another state or something. Yeah. You always drive. Yeah. And I don't know if, I like it. I'm not even going.
I was about to say, you ain't trying to beat me to the
No, I don't. I go right to the passenger side. So anyway, one day we were driving and we were on the tollway. And some days you will drive like an old man, and some days you were driving like a bat out of hell. And this day you were driving real slow.
I was like, oh man, because you were like, we got to do something, and we had to do something where we have to go back to the house. And I'm like, okay.
And that's usually the case because me and Tom, I'm like, and
I was like, all right, no problem. And we're well ahead of schedule. We're gonna make it there on time.
Were we?
Yeah, we made it there well on time.
On time for me is 5 minutes early.
Yeah,
but whatever.
We made it there on time.
5 minutes early, we did not.
But you wanted to argue with me because we was on the turnpike going on the toll road. And I was talking, we having a conversation. And this I know somebody, because you would disconnect from the conversation, look around and look at yourself, and then it's like you want to argue with yourself.
Did you hear me snoring?
You want to argue. It's like you talking to yourself like,
I was.
I need you to go let this nigga drive slow. And it's like, calm down, bitch. She driving. You told her to drive.
No,
but this nigga driving slow today. He want to drive slow today. We got to get back. So I saw it and I was like, she arguing with herself. She is
because
arguing.
I was like, I turned to you, I was like, dang, you were like, what? I said, I had a whole argument with myself instead. Yeah. You were like, about what? I'm like, you're driving.
And I'm like, now, here's the thing. I was like, now you told me to go this way and do this thing. And
I told him.
Yeah, you told me to go that way. And so I was just like, all right, let's talk about it. So I get it. But is that where you grew? And
I had to learn that it's okay because I think as a woman who has been single, who is independent, you knew who I was. And I told you very early, and I'm not saying I told you who I was, not like that.
Yeah.
But I said, I still have some work to do on me. Like, I know that I've been by myself. And so some of those things come out and
yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm still working on that. And that's a work. That is a work because I'm not used to it. I'm not used to it. Wave your hands in the air like you. Okay, never mind.
Swag something that ain't even there. Sorry.
It's fine.
But anyway, so you do say that though. You own that.
I do. I have to.
You own that.
Because that's who I am. And I think a lot of times people don't want to own who they are. And that just makes the situation harder because you're not being truthful with yourself. I had to be truthful with myself that, hey, you do this. That's right. You've been that person. And guess what? It was okay because it was just you. But now, if you want to share your world with someone, you got to figure out how to share.
Did you say it's okay because it was just me?
If it was just me by myself, it was okay.
Right. No, that's not okay. Because if
it was just me by myself and I'm like, I'm driving today. And that's what I'm saying. It's just me. Yeah. But when it's me and somebody else, like I'm co-creating the world. I'm not just like, you just sit in the backseat. I got this. And you'd be like, girl, I'm getting out the car.
Yeah. I'll take this Uber, but when we get to where we're going, I am not getting in the car. No, I definitely get it. For me, I had to grow with myself and understanding that it's not about the perception; it's about what it is.
Say more.
And I would argue perception all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as my thing. I would argue, well, it looks like, so that's how I come to this reasoning because that's what it looks like. And I had to realize that just because in some instances that's what it looks like, that's not actually what it is. And if I'm looking at it through a distorted lens, of course, I'm going to think that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to see the perspective of somebody else.
Yeah.
That's hard.
And so, again, you thought you were going to be single. I just knew I was going to be for the streets.
Wait. That's very different, being single and being for the streets.
Well, yeah, you thought you was going to be single. I thought I was going to be a passive aggressive hoe. Like I'm just hoeing part-time. Like it's just... I'm done with part-time hoe.
Oh, I saved you from hoeing.
I ain't a full-time hoe. I'm a part-time hoe. You know, hours of 7 and 10 on Friday and Saturday. On Sunday through Friday. I mean Sunday through Thursday. I am everything I need to be.
Crazy.
But no, I perception. Perception of what I thought it was versus what it actually is, and what I learned from you is just being in the moment. and seeing what it is, because when arguments happen or, the wrong perception happens, it's like, you want to think about everything. And it's really about thinking about what are you doing in that moment? What is it in that moment that's getting you off balance or not connected with your partner?
Yeah.
And so I had to learn that, perception is not, it's not about what I think it is. It's about actually what it is in that moment.
Right.
And so that took a lot to grow, because I refused to be, felt like, oh, you finna make me feel stupid. No, we're not doing that. But it wasn't that you were trying to make me feel stupid at any point in time, because you didn't make me feel stupid. You were actually challenging me to grow beyond what I thought I perceived.
Yeah.
And when your partner is challenging you to grow beyond your perceived limits or your comfort zone, it can look like it can look like something else. You can't perceive it to be something else simply because it's beyond your comfort zone. So that was real big for me. And as we got married, I had to say, okay, I really need to get used to, because you have to know who you marry. And I felt like I knew who I married, and I still do. And so I was like, get ready to stretch even more, because it's going to be required of you. And you can't resist some of the growth that you may encounter, even though it's uncomfortable for you, because that's what you signed up for. And you got, it's like you can't be afraid now. You put a ring on it. So, excuse me, when going after that situation and being married, that part of growth in my life is where I did not expect to grow, because I was like, I'm always going to have, my perception or whatever the case may be, and argue semi-valid points, but I have to look outside of that. Semi-valid. I slid that right in there. Semi-valid points. I have to look beyond that and say, again, does it have to be an argument? Is your perception the only perception that matters? Is what you're perceiving the actual reality of the situation right now? And what's the desired outcome that you want? I tell my clients, do you want the end result or do you want the process? And so when you're looking at it like that and you say, I perceive to be attacked, so I'm going to act a certain way because I feel like I'm being attacked. But then it turns into something else. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, now you've gone down this rabbit hole after you've perceived you've been attacked or you're being attacked. And now it's like you have to say, well, do I want the end result of getting back to how we were with learning from this lesson, or do I want the process of learning everything else besides this lesson that I need to learn, which is making me grow and stretch and saying to myself, oh, that's why I'm uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm not really being attacked. I'm being challenged to step outside of my comfort zone. And that's uncomfortable. So I perceive uncomfortableness as a form of attack. And so learning all that in this year and, prior to us getting married, but definitely when we got married, is a part that I just did not expect to grow in.
I think either Delon or Coach Chief Hughes, or maybe it was Kalia, said, you're not the person that you were when you got married.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not the person that I was. You are not the person. I believe that we are both better people than when we got married. And this year has grown and stretched us in ways, as the question says, that we did not really think about. I knew that I would need to grow and stretch, but I didn't know how. Yeah. And I think, please don't take this the wrong way.
Here we go.
Patience is one of those things.
Oh, no, I don't take that.
Patience is, but I think that's in everything. And I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about life. And I hate patience. I don't ask for patience. I don't pray, Lord, please give me that, Lord. That's not what I'm praying for. But that's a work. Yeah. And it comes regardless of if you pray or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a work. And so, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. But what I was going to say was, to add to that real quickly, I think the most hard part that we as people in relationships forget is that you have to have patience with yourself to have patience with your partner.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, the patience with your partner comes with the patience with yourself to have it for your partner in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I didn't take it the wrong way, because I was like,
because it was more about me than about you.
Yeah.
And me having patience with myself to understand myself, to growing myself, to coming to another level of understanding myself, at 50 plus and being in a relationship. And what does that look like at 50 plus with a person who is 40 plus? Yes, I said that.
Yeah, we're 10 years apart.
And so that dynamic in and of itself, like, I don't think that I've ever felt threatened or anything like that, but just knowing that there are some things to maneuver in that.
Yeah.
There are definitely some things to maneuver and some understandings that have to be made, like
clear understandings.
And we talk a lot about one of the questions that we've been talking about recently, like about health. And not that I don't think anybody expects anybody to drop dead. Like, that's not an expectation, but you still need to talk about it regardless of what age you were, and your health and wholeness and well-being and all of those things. And so putting things in place that need to be in place and just all of those kinds of things. And so that's adulting. But a lot of adults don't adult.
It's adulting on a level that requires your vulnerability. Like, it's an adulting that requires that you can't hide even from yourself, let alone your spouse. So it's a level of adulting that is just very hard for people who are in relationships that are not thriving but surviving.
And if we don't agree on certain things, like if you didn't want certain things to come to me, I'm just saying, and you wanted it to go to your family or baby girl or same vice versa, that's going to be things that we need to talk out regardless of if we agree or not. We still have to talk all of those things out. Yeah. And that is definitely a growth place.
Yeah. So, I think you showed growth when you were like, I'm about to give you access to something I ain't never gave you access to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That was as an independent woman, right?
Yeah.
I don't need nobody. I don't this. But like, okay, but you are not by yourself anymore. And what does that look like when somebody comes into your world and and they honestly, they have given you access to everything they have.
Right.
What you gonna do?
Right.
But that was hard, but it was, thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
But when it happened, after it happened, it was like, okay, we here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
shout out to the people that are just now joining. It's our anniversary today. We are in the hot seat. We're not Coach Hughes and Therapist April. We're just Jamon and April today, taking questions from the audience. If you want to put a question in or you want to call, you can call that number that's at the bottom of your screen, or you can type a question in the chat and ask us anything you want to ask us about our lives, our marriage, as we celebrate 1 year anniversary today. We've had some questions. We've had some questions that we made up of our own, and we did a couple of them. So we're going to do another one.
Yep. Let's go.
Favorite memory. That's hard.
I have so many with you.
Does it have to be just in the marriage?
I was thinking the same thing because a lot of them happened before we got married. Like, we were looking at pictures earlier today, and I was like, that one right there, he looking kind of sexy. Hold up.
He is looking delicious. I mean, you look way better now because you've done your work and I'm continuing to do our work. Of course, what you just said, we're not the same as we were the day before, but we still looked good even in that process. Yeah, we looked.
Oh, Jesus.
We looked good.
One of my favorite memories, I'm just gonna say, the red party on the last cruise.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Or on Virgin Voyage in the middle of the ocean, even though the cruise didn't go to where we expected it to go to.
Right.
We had an amazing time. And that red party,
Yeah.
we had that whole cruise. We had a really good time.
Yeah, and that was on the verge of that hurricane. We were on the tail end of that hurricane. So it rained a little bit. But even Virgin was so good at what they do. I mean, those guys, man, they were so good at what they did. We were so far on the tail end of that hurricane. Like, it was like almost 3,000 miles ahead of us. And we were just chugging along the back end. It was a huge hurricane, so we got some of the precipitation, but it wasn't enough to stop the party. If anything, it enhanced the party because people started jumping in the pool in their suits and their clothes and stuff. You know,
It was crazy.
It was a crazy atmosphere, but it was fun. And we definitely saw the results of our hard work from the diet that we were on and that we're still on. So I definitely understand why that is a favorite, one of their favorite memories.
And also the very first one that we went on.
Oh, the first one.
The first one is really
where it's at. The first one is what happens in situations that I've never been in. So it was real nice. It was real nice.
So I'm going to the restroom.
Oh, okay. Let's go announce it on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Because sometimes you need to end the light.
And the light comes on. So I guess I'll give my favorite memory. The first cruise was dope. It was so dope. And I had such a good time. Never been on a cruise before. We cruised Virgin and it did what it did. And it meant a lot because I had just lost my mother. And so it was one of the things that really meant a lot to me. And I had such a good experience on that cruise. I was so bummed that we had to come home and start again. And it was just, I didn't want to go home. That's definitely one of, being able to watch the sunrise
in the middle of
the ocean with on a balcony, just you and your draws, right? Keeping it 100.
Or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all. Yeah, that's another thing we did. And we had breakfast butt naked watching the sunrise in the morning on our balcony. Of course, nobody could see us. We ain't like that, but we'll push the envelope a little bit. But it's Virgin. It's all adult cruise. There's no kids. And so, man, I felt I don't know if it was the breakfast or me in the ocean or the sunrise or whatever, but it was just real godlike. Like, it was like getting a taste of heaven, or what I thought heaven would be like. But then we had such a good time. And I'm going to say something that's so trivial, but this is how much of a good time we had. And this is why it's one of my favorite memories. I actually learned how to float.
Yes, you did.
I learned how to float on my back in the ocean. And it was so refreshing that I almost fell asleep when we were in St. Croix.
We were.
I got a sunburn, but before I got the sunburn,
you were lobster red.
I was definitely lobster red. But we're out there in the ocean, got my shades on, and we're floating, and I'm like learning how to float. She helps me learn how to float on my back. I do such a good job that, man, I got relaxed and I ended up floating way out there. And she was like, "Are you gonna come back closer towards?" And I was like, "Dang, I didn't know I was out there." So floating was one of the things that just, and it sounds trivial, like, oh, you can't float, whatever. But it was so fun. And then we stayed drunk the entire time. We stayed drunk. We stayed. Well,
Thank you for
drunk.
telling all the business. I mean, we are being real.
Yeah, we just told we was naked on the balcony. It was
naked. Everybody naked, but
drunk.
Not drunk.
Yes.
But whatever.
Yeah, we were faded like a good haircut the entire time. And
we play hard.
We play hard. But I've never been on a cruise, and to be on a cruise and it's an adult cruise, ain't no kids rolling around. Virgin just got it right. And it was just such fun. And we had such fun and traveling to different countries where we traveled, hiking up that Dominican mountain. Boy.
Yeah. If you ever decide, okay, I want to go on a cruise and be grown person, go on a Virgin cruise.
Virgin cruise is the way to go. I only want to go on Virgin cruise. So.
We have actually toyed with the idea of doing a couples cruise on Virgin. So if you want to go, like, send us a message. We'll try to coordinate something. But that was like the absolute best. So, hey.
Virgin cruise is definitely something that, listen, you got to experience for yourself, and it's one of those things you just like, yeah, damn. It's a lot, and then it's a lot of us on the cruise, but it's not no ratchetness, but it's a lot of us on the cruise, and you'll never know who you meet on that Virgin cruise because it's a lot of rich us on that cruise, or people with money. And so it's just a different atmosphere. It's a different vibe.
It's just a good time.
Yeah, and it's always been a good time. So that's been one of my favorite memories of all time. Besides the fact of
I have another one.
What's the other one?
One of my absolute favorite memories. You see me? You see me? No, I'm smiling because my heart is smiling.
Right.
The first time I saw you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
at the airport.
I got a story about that. So I've never seen her. Like, I've seen the pictures.
Oh yeah,
and they were full body pictures. But you'd be like, "Is that really you recently?" You don't know, right? So I'm looking, and she's on her way. And again, we've talked FaceTime. We've talked, so it's not like I don't know what she looks like. I just didn't see the rest of her, right?
No. Are you in a wheelchair?
Yeah, I was like, are you in a wheelchair? You want to tell me something that I don't know? But I wasn't focused on that. Like, that's how good the conversation was. We were having such a good time. We were talking about everything. And so she comes into the airport, and I have my daughter with me, and she's asleep in the back. And I remember this vividly. I come to the airport on Houston Airport on one of the terminals, or on a lot of the terminals, you could pick up from either side. So I come and I pass the first side, and I'm like, where you're at? She's on the opposite side. So I like, okay, I'm finna loop around. I loop around. I'll be like, where you at? She goes to the opposite side. So I'm like, all right, cool. That's no problem. I asked the security guard. I said, bro, I got my daughter in the car. She's watching the car for me. Can I just go in? Get this, my lady friend, she's right there. I'm gonna come right back. He's like, yeah, you got 5 minutes. He was real cool. I go in and I'm looking for her, and I know what she looks like, so I know I'm a spotter. Man, she came around the corner with this white blazer on, and these white shorts, and I saw nothing but legs. And it was them thick legs. It was just legs and heels. And I was looking, and I was like, oh, that's all of you. Oh, okay. And then I was like, don't you say a goddamn thing. Don't you say nothing. And so what's funny was we smiled, we hugged, and, I saw her. She's looking so, so pretty. And so we're walking out. The security guard, he looks at me, he looks at her, he goes, I said, yeah, nigga, yeah, I appreciate it. He's like, anytime, play, anytime. You can park anytime. You see this face, you can park anytime. And so we got in the car, we drove off, and it was one of my favorite memories. That's what I remember about picking you up at the airport.
Yeah, it was just, even when you said it, I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about coming to Houston for Labor Day.
Yeah.
To visit my family.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good ruse.
You see this face?
That was a good ruse.
And you were like, really? I said, yeah, And you were like, I'll pick you up from the airport. I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to let you take an Uber or whatever.
Okay.
I'm very capable. I picked you up at the airport.
Pick me up.
It was a double focus. I was like, I got to make sure I got to see the rest of her before we get You know what I mean? Like, because if I pick you up at the airport on some goofy shit, I was gonna be like, if it didn't go the way I wanted, I was gonna be like, so where you staying at? Let me go ahead and drop you off. And then when I dropped you off, it was just gonna be phone conversations from there, and then we was gonna have a conversation, be like, look,
this ain't working.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think we were both kind of prepared for that if we weren't feeling it. We had talked about that. Like, if we're not feeling it, I mean, we ain't got to force it. We can hang out, but we ain't got to do all of that.
Yeah, we were very honest and open.
Very honest.
With each other to the point it was like, it's cool. It was painful. Yeah, it was like, if she don't like me, we already know. It's cool. We have good conversations. So, I know, I will put myself in the friend zone and vice versa. So
I mean, that's all the same. When I left, I was like, okay, because I wasn't pressing you about what are we. I was like, oh my God, this has been a great weekend. Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Yeah. I'll talk to you when I get to I'll let you know when I get to North Carolina. And he was like, what happened?
Yeah. I think that what was it? The part that made me laugh, which is another favorite memory. I was so adamant that I was like, I don't do long distance relationships.
Oh my God.
I don't do long distance relationships.
So I got to tell this one.
Yeah. You got to tell that one.
And this is the last one, and we're going to wrap up. So we met on Facebook dating. Yes, Facebook dating. We'll take that.
Yeah.
And I said hi first. Ladies, if you see something that looks good and you want to say hi, say hi. Say hi. So I said hi. He said hi. We kept back and forth. And I said, I'm going to give you my number. Here it is. By the way, this is my TED Talk. Why don't you watch this before, you call me so you can tell me what you think. I look forward to speaking with you. He calls. Hey, great. Oh, the camera died. All right. So he says, great TED Talk. However, you didn't talk about men in that. And I explained why, because you have 12 minutes to talk about something. He was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Didn't know about TED Talk. So,
right. Yeah. So we talk for at least 8 hours that day.
And it was like 3:00 when we got off the phone?
In the morning.
Yeah, 3:00.
And we started like 4:00, maybe more, I don't know. And so I was like, hey, I'm tired. I got to go to bed. I got to get up, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, why don't we have breakfast in the morning, And I was like, that would make me have to get on a plane and fly. And he was like, wait a minute, where are you? And I said, I'm in North Carolina. He was like, you know I'm in Houston. I said, yeah, I know that. He was like, oh, I don't do long distance relationships. And I said, well, I understand. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate getting to know you. But okay, take care. And he said, wait. I said, okay.
What I was saying was, I don't do long distance relationship with short people. That's what it's going. I don't do. Usually. You gotta be a certain height for me to do long distance relationships.
Crazy.
So I'm gonna make an exception this time, and so
he called me the next day.
Yeah,
basically.
I called the next day,
and the next, and the next,
and the next,
and the next.
A lot of people think like you really met online. Yeah.
We did.
You think the chemistry we met in person, but we really met online. And you can find what you want to find online. You can meet the person you want to meet. You just have to be real with yourself and honest with yourself. And we were two people who were both real and honest with ourselves about what we wanted, what we were looking for. And we let the conversation flow. We didn't try to control anything. It was really just a free-flowing conversation that lasted 2.5 weeks before we met.
Yeah.
And we covered a wide range of things because, again, every time we talked, it's almost like we talked 24/7. Because, again, when you were working and I was working, we were texting and sending voice texts back and forth.
Here's the thing that we really didn't talk a lot about that people don't talk about. Well, they talk about more than I think they should.
What?
What was the thing that we really didn't talk about until we got face to face?
Oh, sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about sex.
No, I don't think the conversation went that way because we were too busy enjoying the other things we were talking about.
I think we were so mentally attracted to each other that we didn't worry about the sexual aspect until we were face to face.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, hell.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we talked about it. But it wasn't like, oh, send me a this pic. Ooh, send me a that. It was never any of that. I don't think we sent anything.
Nah, we didn't send any pics. And looking back at that, that just shows where we were at mentally. You know what I mean? That just shows where we were trying to go mentally. Appreciate it, Angel.
Hey, and thank you, Danica.
Thank you so much. But that shows where we were at mentally, and that shows that we weren't like sex wasn't the end all be all.
No.
And I think if it was a mismatch, I think we would have figured it out because of how deep our conversations were.
Yeah.
Right. And how, based off the wide range of things we talked about. So we tell our story to people and it seems so interesting to them, but to us it seems like it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because, and just in what you just said about sex, like I'm gonna be a grown person. I've led with sex. I know lots of women who've led with sex.
Yeah.
We've talked about, I'm not gonna throw you under the bus.
Throw me under the bus.
We've talked about you leading with sex.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've led with sex. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that is the thing that throws people off. Like that you are so concerned about the sexual aspect and energy that you're not concerned about the other energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people who lead with sex and sell a good version of their sex that they lead with or get a good version of sex sold to them, I think those are the same people that miss the other red flags that are obviously there.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't attribute this to nothing but doing work on ourselves. But I would say that because we were able to look at sex as not a real factor and a factor that was like, it's something we're going to talk about, but that we'll get to there. Yeah. We were concerned about, our kids and do we mesh well together? What is our parenting styles like? Who are our exes and are they, a situation in our lives? And
I think that's the one, like when I talk to other people, one of the big things that people don't like to talk about that I feel like is something that you should talk about is the exes. I'm not saying like make the ex like a big deal, but you should know what the dating style of this person is.
Right. Or you should, and that's, again, that was our conversation. Like we talked about, we like ran through our whole history together. We ran through our history together about our dating, our marriages, where we went wrong, all the above, and we ran through all of that.
Hey, beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. For real. We really appreciate it.
Love you, girl.
Yeah. Travel. That's Carmen Sandiego for real.
For real.
The Negro version.
For real.
Where you at this time,
my
Negro?
gorgeous cousin? Miss you much.
Yeah. But we had such conversation and such understanding that when we talked about these different things about our past relationships, our history and stuff, and we danced around, or we didn't engage in the sex aspect, but we kind of put two and two together and understood what we were saying, but we were more concerned about the choices that we previously made, and was there real growth there, was there real substance there to intertwine these things. And so meeting up in person just led to being a confirmation meet.
Right.
And so I think that's what made our situation really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Ma? Hey, mommy.
Very good show tonight. Eliza was talking about Jamon yesterday when you first brought him down. Love you both. Take care. Yeah.
When you ended up cooking for everybody.
So the story behind that is the day you came, or the weekend you came, I ended up cooking for
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. I ended up cooking because you guys had an impromptu get together. And so
in the country.
And so you was like, do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I ain't scared. I've been in the country before. And so, my mama country, And so we went out there, and I came out there, and you were like, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to make tacos. I'm going to make my street tacos.
Yep.
And I said, does your family, mess with Mexican and food like that? And so, you were like, yeah, they do that. So I got out there and I'm cooking. Now, mind you, I'm still kind of in this harsh on women stage.
Very harsh on women.
So I got surrounded in the kitchen by all the girl cousins, right? And I don't even know if Tamika knows this story.
No. Hey, Mika, so listen to this, girl.
The small part.
You were there. Yes,
you were there. So Tamika doesn't even know this part. But when I was there, I had recognized Tamika from the dating app.
From Facebook dating. Sorry, we throwing you out there.
And so she was on there, and she went.
Yeah, he got on me.
I did get on her. Angel, I'm gonna come back to you, but I did get on her. Yeah, I saw you. Tamika doesn't know this story, but I was gonna match with Tamika on Facebook dating, on a dating app. It might have been Facebook dating, or it might have been like BLK or something like that.
Right.
But I recognized her face. And so when I got out there, not knowing you guys are related.
Right. How could you?
There's no way I could have. So I'm out there cooking, and Tamika walks in, and I look, and I'm like, you look at somebody like, okay, because your mind knows, right? And no shade, Tamika is gorgeous woman, dark skin. She was checking off all the boxes.
Everybody says that she's my younger twin.
Right.
But
she was checking off all the boxes. So I was like, okay. And then I read the profile that she had at the time, and I was like, nope. No. And so I get there, and I'm cooking, and I see Tamika, and I was like, oh. And then she starts talking, and I go, oh, that's why Tamika was like, he got on me. And I was like, nah, I'm just challenging you at that time, because again, I'm weaponizing women logic against you at that point in time.
Because that's who you are.
Right. That's why I was. And so I pull, Tamika doesn't know the story, so watch this. I pull, after I get through cooking,
No, you weren't even done. You turned it down and said, excuse me, I'll be right back. And you were like, I need to talk to you.
Yeah. I pulled April to the side, and I stepped outside, and I said, listen, I just want to be honest with you. Your cousin in there, I almost matched with her online. I know her. I've seen her, right? I've seen her online. I've seen her on a few dating apps. I said, now, if this is weird for you, I can get an Uber and I can go back to
Now, mind you, Houston, this is in the country. Houston's a good hour away. This Negro was talking about getting an Uber back to Houston, but okay.
So I was like, listen, I don't know if this is about to be weird for you, but let me go ahead and nip this in the bud, because I told you before, I'm not going to let you beat me with the truth.
Right.
So I'm going to give you my honesty the whole time.
Right.
And so, do you remember what you said?
I was like, no, what did I say? You
just was like very caring, and you was like, you know what? In a short term form, you was like, that's some real nigga shit you just did.
Yeah.
You didn't say that exactly, but what you were saying was that.
Thank you so much for telling me. Right. I really appreciate you for doing that.
Right.
Finish them tacos, please.
Right. Like, can we get back to the tacos, nigga? So it was one of those things where she was just like, dang, you really that honest?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm really that honest, because again, again, no shade to Tamika. She's a wonderful individual. Super intelligent, actually.
Oh my gosh.
She untapped genius.
Yep.
And she is my type, just on surface. You know, and so, but when I read the comment, her profile at the time, which I'm pretty sure has changed, I was like, nah, the personality to me, based off what I read, was like, nah. But when I saw her, I had to be like, okay, what do you do in this situation?
Right. And
most people would have been like, well, you ain't got to do nothing. You ain't really match with her. You know, she don't owe you nothing, and you don't, y'all both single, you know, whatever. But I was like, nah, and let me just stick to what I know I've been doing that works for me. Right. And that's why I pulled you to the side in the middle of me cooking. I was like, you know, hey, this is what's going on. And you did have your moment of, oh, yeah. And then you was like, all right, nigga, get back to the taco.
But I want the tacos, because that's truthful and that's honest, and that showed me where you were mentally. Yeah. And that emotional intelligence that we as women talk about, that's what that was. Right. On the surface, you didn't have anything. You didn't owe me anything. Right. But you extended something. Right. Which is, that's such a gift. We talk about that all the time. Right. That's the gift of transparency that a lot of people don't have. Right? And so there was no need for me to be like, what you mean? You match with my cousin. Like, oh my God, she lived in Houston or lives in Houston. I didn't even live in Houston. Was living around the corner, not too far from where I live. There you go. Yeah, so why would I not? You know what I'm saying? So, and you respected her, and that's, oh, he did, isn't it? Yeah. I really appreciate it. That's why, girl, when he put a ring on it, no. So, that honesty, like, that's something that you value and you keep, right? Yeah. And so, so transparency, I've always appreciated that about you. And it's funny that Tamika shows up. I know. And I can tell that story. So shout out to Tamika. Love her. AKA Carmen San Diego. She is. And so, she never knew that story. And so, again, that just goes to, we've been talking, we had this conversation, and it was like, God was like, let me put this right here and see what you do. Yeah. And I was like, I could fold, but I'm on some real nigga shit. There you go. Let me go ahead, and it wasn't even real nigga shit, to be honest. It was just really grown man stuff. Because nigga shit would have been like, let me just shut up and cook these tacos. Right. Well, and again, I think, and I'll say this and then we should wrap up. Yeah. At the end of the day, whenever we talk to couples or singles about like what it is that they want in a relationship, a lot of people go in like, yeah, I want a man, I want this, and I want that, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but you don't even have to say none of that. Yeah. Let your actions show where you are and what you're doing. And in that moment, that was an action. That's what I'm talking about. That was a gift that gave me everything that I needed to know about you, where you were, and what you were trying to do in life. Yeah. I was dead serious. Angel said, don't forget a question. I'm ready. Girl. She said, is it weird when someone asks me, when will I get a relationship? When I don't really be caring to get in one right now, but then again, I do want eventually, but I don't know if it will happen. I think you got to find yourself on that. You can't let nobody tell you, you know, it sounds like somebody's setting their expectations for you. Like they want you to be in something that you may not be ready for. And it could be friends, it could be family, it could be anybody. But you have to be ready for you, because if you get in something you're not ready for, you're going to crash and burn, or you're going to waste somebody's time, or you're going to waste your own time. That's the one that's huge, wasting your own time. Yeah. So you got to be, you know, transparent with yourself. Like, you know, I just gave in that story. I was transparent with myself in that moment, because I was like, you know, at the very least, you know, I know my cooking's finna be the bomb. I know our vibes thus far was the bomb. So I'm not finna mess this up and do something different just because I'm confronted with something that seems scary. Right. Right. Especially if I already said the perception is what it is. And so if someone else is asking you,
even if it's your boyfriend or somebody who wants to be your man, when are you going to be in a relationship? You have to be honest with yourself and say, when I'm ready, and stand on that, and don't, divert from that.
So also, one of the things that we ask people all the time, do you know yourself?
Right.
Do you love yourself?
Right.
Do you actually know what it is that you want? And by what you just said, I don't know that you know that, Angel.
Right.
I don't think you do. And that's okay, because you have time to get to know you,
right.
to know what you want, what you desire, and not be afraid of asking for what it is that you want to ask for. And I think for me, the difference was when I met Jamon. And again, this is from a woman who's been married. This is my 5th marriage. The difference was when I met him, I was willing to walk away from him if he didn't like who I had become. I was willing to grow and stretch and, but I was good with me.
Yeah.
So the question is, are you good with you?
And she says I'm trying to find myself.
I think that's lovely.
And that's the beautiful part. And that's what you have to do. But you can't use that as a continuous crutch. Not saying that's what you're doing. Some people fall into that slippery slope of using that as a way of not confronting what they need to confront so they can be with somebody.
Right.
Because when you're trying to find yourself and heal, that means you're dealing with the very deepest, ugly parts of you. And you're trying to heal that in real time to the best of your ability and with help. Right. So make sure you're seeking help. Make sure you're trying to reach out.
Come back to group.
And definitely come back to group. Definitely come back to group.
Hey, Pam. Thank you, boo.
What's up, Pam? Thank you so much. If you guys missed it, we know we got a couple more people in here. Today's our anniversary. We're celebrating 1 year, and we decided to come to you guys not as Coach Hughes and April Autumn, the therapist, but simply Jamon and April. And if you guys had any questions, I know we said we were going to get off, but some people just came in late, and that's okay. That's cool. Ask us questions about, how we met or anything about our marriage or us or whatever. We did cover a couple of questions like who said I love you first, and apparently
it was him.
Look how quick she said that. It was him. It was me. I don't remember it, but
I think you were ready for love. You were at a tender space for love.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying I wasn't. It's different when a man is ready for love.
Yeah, I knew, and because I told you, I was like, just give me, because you didn't say what.
Oh, the ugly.
The ugly.
Shit.
You were like,
look, for me to cuss, that was ugly.
I need you to say, because I want to say it the right way.
Look, I wish we had the camera right now, because if people saw my face, you would know how ugly this was.
Yeah.
So, the year that we met, Jamon went through a lot of losses, and he lost his mom before I met him. And after I met him, he lost his father. And so that was a lot. That was a lot for you. That was a lot for the family.
Yeah. Even now, as a side note, my mom passed on the day of the start of spring break, which is March 14th. Right. But we get married, and we got married today, March 9th, not today, but a year ago today on March 9th. So that's how close things are, but definitely continue.
So as you've heard the story, we got serious pretty quickly. And I don't think either one of us anticipated that. I think we were, I don't think we anticipated. You said you loved me very quickly, so I don't think you anticipated how quickly, right?
No, it wasn't. Yeah. I don't think we planned.
No,
but the way the vibe and everything else was going,
it was just inevitable.
It was a natural thing.
So anyway, I'm like, we are together quite a bit. I am about to purchase a house in North Carolina, but I'm debating on if I want to be in North Carolina. I'm debating on if I want to be in Texas with him. I mean, the only thing that's really keeping me in North Carolina is a job that I'm really not liking at Duke.
Yeah.
I said that out loud on recording. Oh my gosh, sorry.
University of Duke.
And my kids were now in college. They're doing their own thing. And I'm like, what am I doing? Do I really want to be here?
Yeah.
And I really didn't. And I was vulnerable with him, and he had said, I want you here. And I was like, oh, wow. So what does that mean? Like, so we knew somebody was going to move, but I knew it would be me because baby girl is not of age. And, so anyway.
Yeah, there was some situations that wouldn't allow me to move when I wasn't trying to move. I made that clear, but it wasn't like I wasn't trying to move by choice. I just wasn't trying to move because it wasn't. But then I also said, I know this is what I may be asking is super tough for you.
Right.
And I know what I'm asking is a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, fast forward, Christmas comes. We have a wonderful Christmas in the high rise, downtown Houston, Galleria area, actually. And Jamon's father passes away. We end up having to go to Mississippi. And we've been together for a little bit now, like a couple of months, maybe.
Yeah. And
so I'm meeting people that he's been with. People are coming by the house. We're in Mississippi, whatever. Here's the bad. I had to do all of that to get to this horrible bad.
Yeah.
So I had not been posted yet on Facebook. You're saying it now. It's just redonkulous. When I say
clearly,
I had not been
status.
I was not in the status. I had not been posted on Facebook. Now, when I say that out loud, it sounds redonkulous.
Yeah.
But in that moment, like in my mind, I'm like, I am giving you all of me. I am doing this. I am doing that.
You're going to post it in your phone.
And he's like, I'm not comfortable. I don't want to share my relationship because once I share it, I can't take it back. And I just want you to myself. Now, that perspective thing that you were talking about, I was having a real hard time seeing your perspective.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be honest.
I also said, I was like, shit, we're not battle tested yet. I'm not going to.
You did say that.
I'm not going to post you online and we, a couple months in and, we're still working out the kinks,
Mm-hmm.
And then with the one thing that really was a problem was I said, I'm not validating you online.
Oh my God. That was huge.
I'm not doing
it. And I had to sit with that. That stung, but it was true.
But I said, I'm not validating you online because I validate you right to your face every day.
Every day, all day.
I'm here validating you right to your face every day, all day. So why do I have to validate you online for you to actually feel validated?
Ladies, I had to sit with that hard truth. I did.
You was at the Chinese restaurant.
And I will never forget. I walked out and your brother was like, well.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
It's been real good.
Yeah.
Because he knew his brother wasn't going to let that one go.
Yeah.
And I had to decide. Now, this is real talk. I had to decide. Is a Facebook post really enough to end our relationship?
Some people would say, yeah.
Some people would.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, we had done major things together already by this point. Major. Like the high rise, we moved into the high rise. And I say we because half of my clothes are at your house.
Yeah, you were back and forth between North Carolina and stuff.
Yeah. And then we had decided that we were going to buy and sell the house in North Carolina. Like, we have made decisions.
And
we had choices.
That house was expensive.
$700,000.
Yeah, we bought that.
We bought and sold. It was like, I had to pray on that one. And I was like, I let it go. And I think it was like 2 weeks later, I was moving to Texas. 2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks I was moving. And I moved and we got settled. And here's the funny thing. So we're going somewhere in the Galleria after I moved.
We're going to Sam's Boat. We'll meet somebody at Sam's Boat.
Uh-huh. And I'm taking a picture, and he goes, post that on Facebook and tag me. I said, excuse me, what? So what'd you say? He's like, yeah. But I was like, okay.
Look, you was like a little kid, like, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, all right, nigga, go ahead.
What the hell? What do you mean? How?
But that was like a month or so later, or a couple of months later.
No.
It wasn't weeks later.
It was, I moved, and then a couple of weeks later, that happened.
Oh, I thought it was months. My bad.
No. Yeah. It was like that.
I felt like the reason I said go ahead at that time, because I felt like, we were battle tested enough to say, okay, let me go ahead and expose that.
And then shortly after, what happened?
What? Oh yeah, I put a ring on it. But I said, give me a year, and by that, it had to be like a year past, because by the time we put the ring on it, we were almost through the year. Like we weren't.
No, the first ring.
Oh,
so here's the other thing. Yeah. I've gone through many iteration of ring, and all of them have been fabulous.
Not because she loses them, but because we have a smart method of upgrading them, and so every year she gets a new ring that's better than the last ring.
Not even years. It's been like
every 6 months,
a couple of months. Yeah. Because this one was not the ring that I got married with, and Jesus. But anyway,
that ring is the most expensive though.
And it is the most beautiful.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the bad, but it was sticking in there. What did Pam say? I want to know.
Pam said, I have lots of questions, but we need a session. No, you got
ask a question. We're going to be here for a second. So
anybody can ask questions. I think so. For me, going back to that story, again, the reason I felt like, all right, cool. Because if you noticed, we had another situation.
We did.
I had to go get my endoscopy.
Yep.
And so after that, I definitely was like, after I came out of that, I definitely was like, all right, Jesus, I'm finna go get this ring. We finna
make this happen. Because it was in February that I got the ring.
Yeah.
Because the North Dallas Hughes got married in January.
Right.
And they came down and they were like, what the hell is that on your face?
Yeah.
It was fun. They were like, wait a minute. Y'all was just out there arguing about Facebook stuff.
Right.
That's why I said they know that we've argued.
Yeah. Because again, at that time, I was like, I don't need to validate you online for you. If I have to validate you online, then me validating you is not good enough in your face every day.
You were right. That was something that I had to grow and stretch into, because again, and when we talk about this a lot, like, what is it about? And you said, what is it about social media what does it for you? Like, why do you need that?
Yeah.
And at that time, I think I was really active on social media. Right now, it's hit and miss. Like,
we don't post a lot.
Yeah. But and most of it is business stuff. And so I don't know. It's not that, I don't know. So I had to really consider and think and, get into my head about, like, what is it? And you were right. You validated me. And I'm saying it with my chest. You were right, babe.
Years later.
Yeah.
No, I think, and I still think this, if a man or a woman is validating you in a healthy manner in your face every day by their actions, by their words, by their intent, and they're operating at a level that's undeniably questionable in your face on a consistent basis, or consistent enough to where you don't have to question whether or not they're validating you or not. This is why social media ruins a lot of relationships,
right?
Because you still need that validation from other people who don't either want you to succeed, want you to have the man that you have or the woman you have, are just straight jealous of you, whatever the case may be. They're there. Some of them are even watchers. Like, they don't.
Right.
They're there for all the fuckery and shenanigans and all that stuff.
Right.
So what I was saying at that time when we were having that argument, I was like, listen. And I said this. I said, I feel like I won the lottery.
You did. You said it quite a bit.
But
here's the effed up part. And this is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I need you to understand. It wasn't you, it was me.
Right. Yeah, I knew that.
It wasn't you, it was me.
I knew that.
Because here's the thing. You showed me every step of the way, that whole week that we were there. Anybody that came by the house, anytime anything happened, April, this is this person. April, this is my girl. Da, da, da. You were so upfront with everybody.
Yeah, just like the Tamika situation. I was telling you about, okay, I used to sleep with her. This is where I know her from.
In my face.
Blah, blah, blah,
he was
blah.
real honest.
Just in case she, because those people were showing up because our parents had made such an impact on everybody.
Yeah.
So when ex-girlfriends would show up, I'm like, yo, okay, this is her. This is how I know each other. Here goes the history.
Yep.
And then by the time you would talk to them, it's like, oh, I already know who you are. And they're like, you do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you thought I wasn't going to say nothing? But then we go to the restaurant and you're like, I need validation.
It was me. Look, I was in my feelings. I'm saying it with my whole chest. I was in my feelings, and I can admit that. That was me. That had nothing to do with you. Yeah. And I have to apologize. Again, this is the ugly. I have to apologize for that, because at that moment, that was not needed. At that moment, what you needed was my love and support to get through the situation. Right. And I made it difficult, and I'm sorry for that, with my insecurity, because that's what it was. Yeah. I have to admit that it was an insecurity.
I had said that too, because I was like, my dad is like dead, and you worried about validation of online Facebook relationships.
And that's when it slapped me.
And I was like, I validate you every day, and that's not enough.
Yep.
And so that was one of those things, like, here in relationships, and even if you're not in a relationship, I want everybody to understand this. You have to love yourself so much that you're willing to lose what you want to keep.
Yep.
In order for you to be understood as these are your rules, these are your regulations, these how you govern yourself. And so when I was telling her that I'm not going to let you beat me with the truth, the whole week I was giving her the truth. I was doing this, I was doing that. I've been honest with her cousin when we first met. I ain't never switched up since then.
At all.
And so, and then my dad is dead, and you arguing with me, which is a valid argument, because I'm validating you. And that's the part that I think people miss, or some people miss. And I know we missed it, but I knew it, but it didn't add to the argument at the time. But I'm even validating that I get how you feel in this moment. Even though my dad is dead, even though, I'm going through this and do that, and I just need your support. Right. The fact that I even brought you down here, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like all this stuff. And it's like, I'm still validating you. And you're like, I want to be validated online. And I'm like, to who? Like, that was
the thing. Like, who is it? Who I thought that you need validation from?
And
it was actually, again, and I have to apologize to you, because it was not you. It was me. It was my insecurity. It was me. And I think standing in that, and I had to like really come to terms with it. And that's why I was like, you know what? You act stupid.
but see, this how God works. So fast forward to when I had my endo. I'm feeling some kind of way. We have an argument in the parking lot.
Right.
We still go inside. We squash it out. We go inside, and they put me to sleep. I have the endo. I come out, and I'm telling all kinds of inappropriate jokes. Like the first thing I said when I realized I woke up, and the first thing I said, I'm in my nightgown, or my hospital gown. And was I in the wheelchair already? I think I was in the wheelchair.
No, you were in the bed.
I was in the bed, ass cheeks out, laying on the side. And I wake up to you holding my hand, and I go, babe, because my throat is chalky. Babe, don't worry. I didn't swallow. We're good. They didn't get me.
And the nurse is just like, he is too much. Drink this damn juice so you can go.
So and then I'm drinking the juice. I was like, babe, they might have got me in my mouth though. My throat dry.
Just
I'm
stupid.
sorry.
It's stupid.
And so right after that, I came to the medicine wears off, and I'm like, let's go here.
Mm.
And you're like, okay. And
Wow.
then and you see something, and you saw the ring, and I said, you know what? Exactly what I said. I said, if you get that, that's what this means.
Yep.
If you allow me to get that for you, this is what this means.
Are you sure?
Right. Here's validation again.
Because I'm like, are we back?
Here's validation again. I say, if you get that, that means we're about to go into the marriage aspect.
Right. You did.
We about to be fiance and all this other stuff. We about to do this.
Yep. You did.
And you go, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah.
No, what you said was like, nigga, really?
Right.
That's what you said.
But that was after like a couple times you asked.
Right.
I'm like, all right, nigga, you obviously.
You getting on my nerves. So.
Yeah, I'm very much sure. I'm very much sure. And so, and it happened like that. And it was like, I think you were still in shock for
I was so in shock. Because we had just had but you were, I know why we had the argument, because you were afraid of the endoscopy.
And that's what the growth is. So I was afraid that I was going to have the same thing that killed my dad.
Right.
And I was afraid that, not realizing that you weren't going anywhere, but in my mind, it's like, okay, she's not trying to take on my mind had just went down this rabbit hole. Again, This is how God works. Because just earlier we were arguing about Facebook posts. Right. And now we're arguing about, I'm self-sabotaging because I think that this endoscopy is going to turn up with, my worst nightmare.
Right.
And so, you didn't leave, you stayed, just like I didn't leave after the Facebook, situation. And I stayed, and we always talked it out. And then afterwards, I was like, "Yeah, let's go get that." Because after the endo, and we came out of that, to me, in my head, there was nothing else that you needed to prove for me to be like, "I'm finna put a ring on it."
All right,
we finna do this.
Right.
Now, if you had been like, "I'm not ready," I was like, "Well, motherfucker, get ready," because. We's getting married, motherfucker. Yeah, we was getting married. I don't know what your plans was, but I remember saying, "Give me about a year,"
and it was less than that.
It was less than a year.
Yeah,
it was like a full year, but it wasn't like a full year. But it was almost coming up on a year, and I was just like, "Yeah, give me that time." Right. And when that time happened in my mind, I was like, yeah, we gonna do this. Yeah. And then you hit me with the, are you sure? And I'm like, the one time I'm equally sure, you like, are you sure? You know what I'm saying? So again, that's called growth. And we talked about that earlier in one of our questions, which is what did you grow from that you didn't expect to grow from, or what area did you grow in that you didn't expect to grow from? And that area for me was, understanding what I said earlier was perception, my perception versus the actual reality of what it is in this moment.
Yeah.
And you are so good at, which I so appreciate you for, that you are a master at focusing on what it is right now without denying or discounting what happened before.
Right.
You're like, okay, this happened before. Got it. But where are we right now? What are we focusing on? What are we talking on? What are we trying to embrace? In some cases, for me, what are we trying to run from?
Right. Well, I think one of the things that a lot of people have a problem with in relationships that is a work is forgiveness. And it's not even forgiveness for somebody else. It's forgiveness of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What Angel say? Y'all lucky to have found each other.
Oh, we're blessed. Yeah. That's what I say. God did that.
I tell April all the time, I said, this is what it looks like when you do the work on yourself.
Yep.
This is what it looks like when you do the work on yourself, because you're able to tell who else has done the work on themselves and who else is actually healed.
Jesus.
She said, because it sucks. Listen, when we were, I've had some pretty rough dating stories in Houston.
We talked about all
both
sides.
About all of it. Give me a dating story pre you met me that you was just like.
You remember the first one I told you, the dude that was like, okay, so and this is the first date that we went on. Okay, so you can't date nobody else. Right. It's just me and you.
Right.
And I'm like, I haven't even decided. In my mind, I'm like, I haven't even decided that I'm dating you. Right. Like, this is like, we just met. Right? And he's giving me a list of what I can and cannot do as his woman. And I'm like, I didn't even say that I wanted to be your what? Right. And so he's like, came out for the calamari. Right. And so I get my food and I'm, and he was like, so we clear. You gonna get off this website. You're not gonna date nobody else because I'm not gonna be competing for you, for your time and attention. I said, no, I'm not agreeing to that. And he was like, what? I said, no, I just met you. I don't know you. Right. I'm getting to know you. Right. We matched and we talked maybe twice on the phone and here we are having dinner and you want me to change I don't know you. Right. I don't know you. Oh, well. You must be one of them thoughts, or you must be out here doing all the things. And I'm like, okay, I'll be that if that's what you think. But, and I paid for his dinner. I was like, you don't have to pay for this. I got this, actually. Could you bring the check and me a box? Because I'm going to eat my stuff. Yeah. Well, you good? Because I'm good. Yeah. And I saw him maybe a year later, and he apologized and wanted to go out. And I was like, no, I'm good. Right. I'm good because you already showed me your hand. Right. Like, you're going to tell me what? I don't know you, sir. Yeah. And so a lot of times when you are good with you and when people try to tell you what you're going to do, because dating is just that, you are getting to know people. Right. Yeah. You are getting to know people. And when you decide, because we said this, when we met each other, and now I know you were getting to know people, and I was getting to know people, and we talked about it. Yeah. And so it wasn't until we said, we're going to be together, then we made some calls to people like, listen, I'm seeing someone now. Yeah. Wait, we talked the other day. Yeah, I know we talked. Yeah. But, yeah, we're good. I'm good. And then we talked about, we was like, who do you think is going to be mad that we're about to cut them off since we're about to be together? And we had this whole conversation about who we thought from both of our dating perspective realms that was going to be mad that we're about to cut them off because, we're about to be a thing. And so even that was fun in itself because it shows that the transparency of, oh yeah, when he called this girl, she finna be mad as hell. Or when she called this dude, he finna be mad as hell. Now let's be clear, there was no, you gotta call them right now. But it wasn't none of that because there was no reason for that. Yeah, it wasn't that. So we got a question. Pamela's asked, April, how long did it take after your last marriage to start with Coach Jamon and know he was it this time? Wow. So that's a good question. That is a great question because when I moved back to North Carolina, remember I was going through a divorce and that was in 2016. Yeah. And so, once I decided that I'm going to say it with my chest because you always say I'm going to say it with my chest. Say it. Once I decided that you can't blame all these people. The common factor in all of that is you. Mm-hmm. I got real quiet with me. And I put me in a corner and I talked to me. I was like, okay, so let's talk about what happened with each one of these people. And I started writing things out. Right. And found what the common denominators were. Right. And then I decided that I'm going to say this, Pam. I talk a lot in therapeutic process with people being in relationship with who, Jamon? Themselves. With themselves. Yeah. I'm not just saying that because it's cute. I'm saying that because it's necessary. Right. And so for at least a year, I was in a relationship with me. I wasn't seeing nobody. I was focused on me. And let me tell you, that year was not easy. It was hard.
Right.
It was real hard. And then I started really liking it.
Right.
And so I think I was by myself, 16, 17, 18, 19. I was by myself for 3 years.
Go on.
3 years.
Yeah.
And then I met G.I. Joe.
We're going to call him G.I. Joe for the sake of keeping his name out of it. But he's ex-military.
And so I could have settled. I'm just going to say it the way I feel it. I could have settled. In my heart, everything that I had learned previously just would not let me do it.
Yeah. Asked
me to marry them. I just couldn't do it. Not that the person is not a great person, because they're a great person. But no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And so I was by myself for a while. And then after G.I. Joe, I shouldn't say that. I would put my toe in the water and go out like with the dude that I just talked about. And I'd be like, nope, back up.
Yeah.
It would be like, okay, let's see what happens. And then I back up. And then let's see what happens. Oh, no, that ain't it.
Right.
And so I think people think that whenever you date, it's going to be wonderful and marvelous all the time. It's not.
Right.
You're going to kiss a lot of frogs. I've kissed a lot of frogs. I've gone to lunch dates, dinner dates, coffee dates,
one and done,
park dates with a lot of frogs. But that's allowed me to get to know people. And I'm not saying that they were all bad, because there were some people that I got to know that I'm actually friends with that I think they're pretty cool. They just weren't the person.
Right.
And so I think in the back of my mind, again, it wasn't that, yes, I'm going to be married again. It was like, I just want to see what's out here. Yeah. And then after a while, I was like, no. And I stopped looking for marriage. It's not that I didn't want it.
Right.
It wasn't like the first thing that I was gunning for. It was, who is a good human being out here? Who has their stuff together? And I don't mean like you got to have an 820 credit score and not all of that stuff. And that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Right.
But really, like, who is willing to talk it out? Who has some great conversation? Who is willing to challenge me on my thoughts? And because, hear me clearly, part of the thing that attracted me to him is that he challenged some of my thoughts. He didn't agree with everything I said. And I definitely didn't agree with everything he said.
Yeah.
But there were so many similarities, and it was exciting and new to talk about. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, you're so familiar. It wasn't like that. Because whenever it seems familiar, you need to question it, because that's the thing that you're used to.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah, that's the familiarity is what you're picking, because that's why it seems familiar and that's why it seems comfortable. And I told her when I met her, I was like, I'm going to challenge your perspective. I'm going to challenge your thought process. I'm going to challenge you as a person. And I expect the same. And so it's like saying everybody wants to be black until it's time to be black. Everybody wants to have their person until it's time for that person requiring you acting accordance with what it takes to have that person. Everybody want to be rich, but don't want rich people problems. But everybody want to have money and be rich and not understand that you have to act a certain way, move a certain way. Now that you have money, now that you're rich, you can't be moving like you broke and you got money, because then you'll really be broke. You can't be moving like you still the same person from your past broken relationship when you get somebody that's really probably your person, but you still moving like you in the past. You still moving like you're with the person that hurt you. You're still moving like, you don't even know yourself, but you're expecting this person to know you, figure out. And if they don't, oh, that's their fault. Now they lose you. When in actuality, you have lost them because they go on and do better without you with somebody else. So that's something that's really hard to swallow for men and women who are out here dating and who haven't really worked on themselves, is when once you fix yourself that you probably missed out on your person, right? And you probably shot yourself in the foot because of you were in your own way. And so, listen, it's not beyond me, because I had just got out of a relationship with a person in Dallas, and me and her almost died together on Valentine's Day. And she was there for me when my mother died. And so it was just the timing of that plus some other stuff is the reason why I decided at that time to let that go. But what's that thing?
Because I don't think it was just like, I had a death in the family and I need to let you go.
That. It was some, I felt a little bit of controlling nature. And, overall it was, a solid experience, but there were a few instances in there where I felt like it was controlling. And so combine that with the death of my family, I just was like, yeah, I'm out. I need to go fix myself before this flushes down the toilet and we're mad at each other.
Right.
And that takes growth too, because some people will stay around
just to stay around.
I don't want that. I don't want to lose that person, but I need to fix myself. Well, you need to fix yourself by yourself. And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say this about Pam's question, because one of the things in that getting to know me is I had to recognize that I was trying to have someone do something for me that I hadn't done for myself, which is fully, unapologetically love me.
Yeah.
And choose me.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't even chosen myself.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think I know a lot of people run into that, especially when we're helping them in our practice. And we keep constantly telling them, listen, if you want to save your marriage, you want to save your relationship, you got to love you. And right now you're expecting somebody to love you and you don't even love you. So they don't know what they're doing because you haven't given them the blueprint of you. And so giving somebody the blueprint of you who actually deserves it, because some of y'all who will end up, men and women, will end up loving themselves and then giving the blueprint of themselves to the wrong person and then wonder why they still have the same result.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's the part of knowing yourself, because when you're giving it to the person and you see something and because you're watching them. I love that you said battle tested. I mean, and I didn't want to accept that because it's me, but of course not. Right. Yeah. But that's real. You got to. And so when you see it, you're like, I don't know. Maybe I need to get my blueprint back because you don't deserve this.
Can this motherfucker read blueprints?
Right? You got it upside down. Yeah, Damn it.
You looking at this blueprint the wrong way. I should have asked you if you could read blueprints before we got here.
Right.
And that's, again, all of that is a part of loving yourself. And when I met April, I knew I had loved myself because I was able to walk away from something that I thought was it. Yeah. And I was able to walk away comfortably and still be in, a good position for myself and be like, hey, I'm just going to be out here by myself and that's cool. I'm going to keep trying until something pops up, but I'm not going to stress about it. Because I know I need to do what I needed to do. So
same with G.I. Joe. Yeah. I was like, gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah. Angel says, I've been trying to find myself for a long time. I'm just existing, LOL, at this point, but I'll be fine. You won't be.
No, that's not finding yourself.
Yeah, just existing is meaning you're not dealing with the issues that you need to deal with.
And a lot of people, I was talking to someone and they were like, I'm reading a lot of self-help books and I'm like, who's guiding you through that? Like, they're professionals out here for a reason.
Right.
And I'm not saying that self-help books aren't helpful, but they're typically when you've already gotten some help.
Yeah, a lot of more so women than men, because men won't even do that. They'll just be like, all right, I'm good.
I'm good.
But women will sit here and get all in the chakras and nature and stuff like that and beads and sage, and ain't nobody helping you through. You ain't fact checked none of this stuff, and you ain't asked nobody for help. because that kind of stuff usually is when you're on the back end of finally discovering who you are.
Right.
And the stuff like the chakra, the stage, and all this other stuff is really just to enhance what you already are and found yourself to be, not to help you through the situation of discovering yourself.
When we were talking about the shadow traits, people were like, oh, hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you know if God means for you to be married? What if you're meant to be alone? That's a question that I would say you have to discover for yourself, because not everybody is meant to be married, but not everybody is meant to be alone. So you have to look at it from both sides, because if one side, okay, I'll say it to you like this. The old saying, or the alchemist saying, is so above, so it is below, or so below as it is above, meaning even though it's below, it is the equal and opposite reaction above. The simple way to put it is yin and yang, right? Yep. So if you can conceive that, or conceive the possibility that God doesn't want you to be married, which I don't believe that. I just think that some people are married and some people are not, and it doesn't have anything to do with God. I think if you are not married and that's what you desire, you still have to look at your choices and the people that you choose and the things that you are doing that are not getting you the results that you need. But instead of doing that, people want to say, oh, God don't want me to be with nobody. God ain't send me nobody, and all this other stuff. And so I would say that at the end of the day, if that's the case, if you think that God doesn't want you to be married, then you have to assume that God does not want you to be alone either. Because if you're going by God, just in the Bible, it says, we had this argument, battle yesterday, that it's not good for man to be alone.
Yep.
Right. But at the same time, we also understand that technically man wasn't alone, because if you read the esoteric knowledge, it also says that every animal in the Garden of Eden could talk and Adam could understand. That's why when he named them, they understood their name, right? But we won't go into that. What I'm saying is that you can't just say God doesn't want you to be married without understanding that God may not want you to be alone. And I would lean towards the latter and say, well, what is it that I'm doing that may not be meeting God's requirements for me to be married? Meaning, where am I falling short in myself that God is withholding my blessing until I understand the lesson that I need to learn before I get my blessing? Because you can't just get your blessing and think that you're going to learn the lesson along the way.
Jesus.
By the time you get your blessing, you're going to learn a different lesson that is different from the one that allowed you to get the blessing in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're out here and you're trying to be married and your goal is marriage, and you can say, which is your right, God may not want me to be married. You have to also say, God may not want me to be alone. And then you make your choice and you have to live with that choice. Again, I would choose God doesn't want you to be alone.
Well, my take is a little bit different because, I believe in how you speak. You put it in the air.
Yeah.
What you say, you will have. And so if you are saying, I'm meant to be alone, then you're probably going to be alone because your actions will fall in line with you being alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So a man speaketh, so he thinketh, and all of those things fall together.
It's the same. That's why I say people don't understand that. They think that the Bible is saying something that's so unique to them when it's really esoteric knowledge that's been adopted in the Bible. So you speak, so shall you be. The tongue is a double-edged sword. It can chop both ways. That's the same thing as far as alchemy and esoteric knowledge. So below, so it is above. Right. And so when you're doing something like that, again, the universe doesn't operate in absolute. Sorry.
Correct.
The universe operates in probability. Right. With numerous of outcomes that each are probable to a possible absolute action. But even when getting to that absolute action, there's still multiple probabilities from that point. So the universe never operates in absolutes. So when you're dealing with that and you're understanding that God loves you no matter if you're alone or you're married, because it doesn't say just because you're married and y'all die that you're going to see her or him when you get to heaven. It doesn't even say that. Some of y'all might be separated. You never know. But at the end of the day, if you can, again, say that, what if God doesn't want me to be married? You have to also say, in logic, in retrospect, what if God doesn't want me to be alone?
But more than that, here's my thing. Does God want you to be happy? I say yes. Yeah. So what is happiness to you?
Yeah.
What is happiness to you? Is happiness existing alone? And if that's your happiness, okay, fine.
But see, here's my problem with just existing.
And maybe I shouldn't have said exist.
No, because even this person right here just said, I know that feeling, just existing, right? My problem with just existing is you're still expecting the outcome that comes from not just existing. Like, you're just existing, but you want the outcome of somebody who's doing the work. And so you'll say, well, maybe it's not for me, and maybe it's not, but you're just existing. You don't know if it's for you because you're not really doing the work. Yes, it takes time to find yourself. Yes, it takes time to discover who you are, but it don't take that goddamn long.
But you have to be committed to doing the work. And I just talked to someone about this the other day, and they wanted to put up every block in the world, time. Because, I'll ask people, are you committed to finding you? Are you committed to this work? Because it's a work.
Right.
It is a work. And they're like, well, I don't know if I have the time. I don't know if then you're not committed.
Right.
Then you don't really want it. It comes in waves when you recognize that you're alone and you recognize that you don't have all that you could be. We have some very successful people who come to us and they're like, I just can't get to the next level. What is it? I'm like, you haven't found you. You're just existing.
Yeah.
You may be successful in some areas, but to take it to the next level, you got to get out of your way.
Right.
You got to put your head down and do some work on you. You can't avoid you anymore. Yeah. That's basically what your life is telling you.
Yeah, I'm glad you said you can't avoid you, because to me, just existing means you're choosing to avoid yourself.
You are.
You're choosing to avoid yourself because even in your subconscious, dealing with yourself is a task. That's why you ain't did it yet. You've tiptoed around it. You found excuses and reasons that have nothing to do with you finding yourself for real. And because just existing is a choice. Let's get this out the way. Just existing is a choice. I knew, I'm not going to speak for April, but I knew even after losing both of my parents, I did not just want to exist. Not only did I lose my parents, I'm dealing with a rocky aftermath of a divorce. I'm still working and getting the stuff together of bouncing back from COVID and job loss. I'm dealing with a lot. But
co-parenting.
I still push through because I knew this is not where I want to be. This is not where I'm not going to settle. I know this is happening to me and I got to go through my emotions and my moments, but I know this is not where I want to be. And this is not what I'm settling for. So I'm not going to just exist. I'm going to deal with myself so I can get what I deserve or what God has for me. And you have to stop just existing because more is expected of you. That's why you don't get any challenges in your life. That's why you look at other people and you look at their happiness and 50% of it is fake. Let's just get this out the way. All this stuff you see on the internet, if they posted too much on the internet, it's fake because they're looking for validation for you, or they want to make it seem like they got their shit together and they really don't. But when you're just existing, you're really avoiding yourself and you're not giving yourself a chance to find you, love you, be with you, and embrace you. But yet and still, you want somebody else to do the same thing. How are you going to teach them to love you when you haven't loved yourself? How are you going to teach that person what it is to be with you? And what you teach them when you're just existing is you're teaching them how to abuse you even further, because people who just exist allow certain things to happen to them that people who love themselves will never allow. They will never allow it. And so when you are just existing, you have to understand that just existing is not enough. You know it's not enough because you're tired of just existing. You're so tired of just existing. You know it's not enough. So you got to put in the work. What's wrong with you? Why you don't like you? You don't like what God made? You don't like what the universe created? What, you don't think you good enough or something? But everybody else is seeing your potential? How is it that God is waiting to bless you and you holding up his time? Make that make sense, because you just existing. Thank you, God, for allowing me to just exist. And God up here like, I need you to get your shit together. I need you to figure it out because I got so much for you over here. If you're going by God, he's literally told you when you get up to heaven, you're going to walk on streets of gold so pure that it's going to look like glass under your feet. And you down here on earth just existing. Make it make sense. God wants you to have the same, which is called a preview of what it's going to be like in heaven down here on earth if you would just stop existing.
Right. So for those of you who really want the assistance, who really want the help, like we offer this help, we offer this support in navigating how to get what it is that you want. And a lot of people say, oh, that's just y'all. That's just your... I'm being real honest and real transparent and vulnerable here. It took me to do the work to have what I want. And we were talking about this earlier. This is really about doing the work for yourself. And even if Jamon was not the person, and he said it earlier, we would have both walked away from the situation.
Yeah, and we would have still been okay.
Yeah.
But that's because we both know and we made it clear. But see, here's the thing. Here's the kicker. We didn't have to make it clear to each other that we loved ourselves enough to do so.
No.
We knew by that we loved ourselves. Like I was saying, I know she loves herself.
By the actions.
By her actions, by her words, by the way she carries herself. Her energy says she really loves herself.
Let me do this. It wasn't my education, folks. Let me get that clear, because let me tell you about this Negro over here. Mm-hmm. He could give two blankety blanks about this PhD that I'm about to have. He don't care about that.
Well, now I care about it because we're together.
He was like, okay, that's nice and all. Good for you. Great job for being an adult. But it's not. It wasn't any of that. And I didn't lead with that. Right. It was, are you a good person?
Who are you beyond what you
the
present
accolades
to everybody else and the accolades? And that's what I say. Some of y'all don't really like you because you can't even present the real version of you to people outside who don't know you, who have no reason to even worry about who you are because they don't know you, but you're so self-conscious of who you are and how you don't like yourself. You won't even give the public, a general public of people who really don't know you, you won't even give them the real you because even you're scared subconsciously that they won't like you because you don't like you.
Now, let me be clear. Men do this as well. They just do it a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah. It's called isolation.
Yeah.
It's called, I don't need any help. It's called, I got this. Nobody cares about my feelings, so I'm not going to care about anybody else's.
Yeah.
It's called anger. It's called resentment.
Yeah.
So men do it too.
Right.
Men do it too, to a point where it's equally as bad as when women do it. Yeah. You both are, men and women are both sitting here just existing when you know you are required to do more. And you're like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know what's on the other side. Good. That's the point. It's called courage. Walk through. You're not supposed to know what's on the other side. You're supposed to go through and figure it out along the way. You're supposed to break through walls and move mountains. You have the power to change lives. And you sitting up here, you know how many people you could have affected in a good way and influence if you had to just stop existing? You know how many people depended on you? Y'all don't even know that people be watching you, looking to see what you're going to do because they need a blueprint on how they should do what they do. And you're thinking, ain't nobody looking at me. Yeah, they are. Everybody is looking at you, and somebody out of 10 people are looking at you and saying, I need to see what this person's going to do because I'm going through the same thing. And if they can get out of it, I can get out of it.
Ladies, if you are on this call and you want to come to group, email me at aprilautumnsparks@gmail.com. Go to the website, www.aprilautumnsparks.com, and subscribe here. Men, if you want to come to group and really learn yourself and get the support. Now, hear me clearly. We're not saying, oh my gosh, you can have a relationship like ours, couple goals. We ain't saying that.
Nah.
Because I'm not saying that our relationship is perfect. We just said that we are human. I'm very human. We talked about having discussions that were rough. We talked about all of the things but here's the thing. We are here. And we are trying, and we are doing more than just surviving. We are thriving, and we want to help people thrive. We want you to thrive. We want you to be more than just, I'm existing here and waiting to see what happens. You make your life happen. Stop letting your life happen to you. You are the person that's in control of your life. So get up and control it.
I'm going to say this and I'm going to let it go. For those who are just existing, remember this and remember this clearly. You're just existing on this earth only to not exist when you die. Because you're going to die eventually. Old age, whatever the case may be, however you go. Hopefully it's old age. But you're just existing. And then when you die, that's it. That's it. Despite what religion tells you, despite what anybody else tells you, nobody has come back from the grave but like, oh yeah, this is what happens when you close your eyes and your soul leaves your body.
Right.
So when you die, that's it. And you're just existing until that point. And it's funny, it just came to me. You're existing just to not exist at the end of the day when it's all said and done. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You're just existing only to not exist when it's all said and done. And it's time for you to go home. So why waste the one life you have by just existing? Why don't you start living? Just living. This is what you want. Or are you scared of success? Because some of you are scared of success as well. Some of you are scared of the requirements of what it takes to have what you want. But you can do it. You don't know if you can't do it because you never tried. And if you try, just because you failed doesn't mean you shouldn't try again. Because maybe it was something that you did, or maybe it's something that you missed, but you can try again. So what we decided to do today is tell you our story so you can try again. Because with me being married twice and my wife being married 5 times, we tried again. We can tell you, you keep trying. You'll get it.
Yep.
You'll get it.
And what's the thing that you say about history?
Oh yeah, your history doesn't have to be your story. Not even your past has to be your story.
Nope.
My past does not define me.
Not at all.
It only tells my journey up into who I am right now. Y'all would let your past define you. That's why you're just existing. You think you're the only one with the problems that you got. Really? You're the only one with the problems that you got. You ain't even talked to nobody else to see if anybody else had the same problems. But you can talk to everybody else to see everybody else other point of views that align with your views on matters of the subject that don't even matter to you.
Right.
So stop existing. Because me and my wife, the reason we made it is because we didn't exist. We stopped existing. We started doing the work. And because we did the work on our own time is what allowed us to find each other. And that's how you find your person, because you're focusing on doing the work on yourself. and not focusing on trying to find your person and then do the work.
There it is. Love you guys. Big hugs. We hope that you've had a really interesting and eventful and exciting time today with us.
Yeah, it's been good.
I think so.
Really good.
So yeah.
Been really good.
All right, folks. Have a great night.
We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.